You know, when I was in sixth grade, my sixth grade teacher, her name was Miss Nardiello. I'll never forget this name. She gave us an assignment. Some of you might know this story. She gave us an assignment when I was in sixth grade, and she told us to go home over the weekend and come back on Monday and give her our specific personal definition of what being wealthy, being rich, being successful is. She wanted to know, what's success for you? What's wealth for you? Because her view was that it's different for everyone. Everyone has a different image of what that is. So, make a long story short, I realized over the weekend that I couldn't really find anyone in my life I could point to say, that's who I want to be. That's what I want to be. That's what I want to accomplish. And this was an eye opener for me. I didn't know anyone. I looked amongst my family. I looked amongst my relatives, my neighbors, and I couldn't find anyone. And this was eye opening for me. But I remembered something. I remembered one Christmas. I think I was like 6 years old at the time. And it's a Christmas that I'll never forget because I felt as though I made my mother feel inappropriate. And I carried around this guilt about that because I wanted this special pair of skates. My mother promised that she was going to get it to me for Christmas, but she wasn't able to. She wasn't able to. Something came up. She got me a couple little trinkets, but I came down, looked for this prize, this gift of mine, and I could see the disappointment, the sadness in my mother's face because I was so disappointed that I didn't have my skates. I never wanted to see that look in my mother's face again. And I felt like it's my fault. I should have pretended. I should have acted like everything was okay. I shouldn't have acted so disappointed. Never want to see my mom look like that again. She was heartbroken. So remembering this, I went back into Miss Nardiello's class on Monday morning. Sorry for the lengthy story, but there's a point here and I'm about to drive it home, right? Went back to Miss Nardiello's class on Monday morning. It was my turn to stand up after maybe 6 or 7 other kids stood up and says, you know, I want a fancy car. I want a big giant mansion. I stood up and said, she says, well, Oliver, what is your definition of success? I said, Miss Nardiello, my success, my idea, my definition of success is as follows. I never, ever want to have to say no when I really want to say yes. And this statement of mine made everyone in the room quiet. And I could see that my teacher, Miss Nardiello, was a little blown away by it. I never want to say no. I never want to have to say no when I really, in my heart and my soul, I want to say yes. Because my mother really wanted to say yes to those skates, but she couldn't. And I never wanted to live like that. I never want to say no when my true desire is really yes. And to me, that's being successful. When your no's are real. When I say no, it's because I don't want to, not because I can't. And that's what drove my life. Do you understand? That drove my life. I never want to have to say no when I really want to say yes. So I'm going to live my life making sure that my no's are not phony. My no's are not fake. My no's are absolutely real. So that when Oliver Velez says no, it's because he doesn't want to, not because he can't.